so much for joining everyone then this evening. I'm Nicola. I'm joined by some colleagues here, which we'll go through in a moment. Just to let you know, the session is being recorded. I will be sending out a copy of the recordings, but if you're hopefully joined us live, then thank you so much for being here. Closed captions have been enabled, so if you need to use those, then please do access them as well. We will keep an eye on the chat box throughout the session. Thank you if you've submitted a question already when you registered for the event. I have taken a look at those and we're trying to cover as much of those as possible that's relevant to our topic this evening of your path into law. We're giving a GDL overview and then we have a panel Q&A session as well. But if you think of anything else that you'd like to ask the panel or ourselves during the session, then please do pop them into the chat and we'll try and get through those as well. So I'm Nicola. I am the Student Recruitment Manager here at the College of Legal Practice. So if you have sort of inquiries, or looking for information about our programmes, then you would be coming through to myself or to Lara. And as a team, we also put on events like this as well to try and assist you really. Lara, do you want to say hello and give a quick intro?
Thank you. So hi everyone, my name is Lara and I work under Nicola as a Student Recruitment Officer. So I deal with a lot of prospective student inquiries which come through, hold one-to-one meetings and phone calls and generally discuss the best pathway for yourself. So I'll hand you over now to Chloe.
Hi guys, I'm Chloe. I'm currently a student on the GDL. I'm studying part-time. I'm working in insurance defence at the moment as well. So that was my motivation to be studying the GDL at this moment in time. Really enjoying it, really good course.
Brilliant, thanks Chloe. And Bill?
Hi, my name is Bill. I have just finished the GDL. So this is my sort of first tentative steps into law, just finished. So yeah, that's me.
Thank you. And then Jo as well.
Hi, I was on the same cohort as Bill, so I finished the GDL in February this year as well, and I'm now studying the SQE route with the college, so I'm doing the SQE one at the moment.
Brilliant, thanks very much. So we'll hear much more from Chloe, Bill and Jo in a little bit as well. So just to give you a quick overview then what we're going to be covering today. So we'll just explain a bit about who we are here at the College of Legal Practice. We'll be giving you an overview of what the GDL actually is and who it's for. Talking about how the programme is actually delivered to you. And then obviously having our GDL panel Q&A as well. So I've got some pre-prepared questions to put to them, but also we'll be looking at any other questions that come through through the chat function as well during the session. So then, just to give you a bit of an overview then of who we are. So for those of you who don't know, we are a fully online postgraduate law school and we are built for delivering our programs online. They weren't just sort of moved to online after the pandemic or anything like that. We're completely set up in this way initially. So we specialise actually in SQE preparation, but then sort of through our delivery of that mainly and the need then for a law conversion course to help people on the way to that, we then started obviously offering the GDL as well, and you'll be hearing obviously much more about who that's suitable for in a bit. So our parent company, the College of Law, are actually leaders in legal education in Australia. So we're very experienced in delivering digital learning from that point of view as well. We're all about accessible and affordable legal education. So that is a real sort of key focus for us. Traditionally, the legal profession has been known as having many barriers to entry, so we do our bit really to try and eliminate that through keeping our costs as low as possible. We also facilitate access through our personal and targeted individual support as well, through our supervision, which you'll be hearing about. And we're also very proud to be really sort of highly rated by our students. You'll see there's a number of different logos on the screen there, and these are firms that we partner with to offer training programs to their trainees or or employees. Also, there's a number of universities there as well that we actually partner with, mainly to provide the SQE element to their own master's programs as well, as they've recognised us as being the specialists to be able to support them in providing that. So then let's get on with finding out about what the GDL is. So before we talk to our panel, Lara is going to run you through some of the basics about what is actually involved. So over to you, Lara.
Thank you. So the Graduate Diploma in Law, which we offer at the College of Legal Practice, this is our law conversion course, and it covers the foundation areas of law in England and Wales, and it helps students level the playing field with UK LLB graduates. It is a short focus course which we offer, and it totals 90 credits, and it's at a level 6. So depending on whether you do the full-time or the part-time option, the cost of the course is £3,950, and that's always split into instalments. So later on in the presentation, we'll go through the fees and how it's sort of split up and how you pay for it. So generally, the Graduate Diploma in Law, it is for those individuals who may have gained a degree, but it could be in a non-law subject. It could be for internationally qualified lawyers and they want to get the experience of the law in England and Wales. It could also be for students who have studied law from outside of the UK, or whether you've worked in a legal practice before but not gained any of those qualifications in law. Now, the entry requirements for the course, you will need a 2-2 degree or equivalent in any subject. If you don't have that, then it will be 3 A-levels or equivalent with a minimum of 2 years work experience in legal practice. And if English isn't your language, your first language, then it will be IELTS at 6.5 with 6 in each component, or therefore equivalent to that as well. It will eventually move. Thank you. So within the GDL, you will cover 7 main modules, and this will include the introduction to law. You will then go over criminal law, contract law, tort, land, public law, which also includes EU law as well, and trusts. Now, one good thing about the Graduate Diploma in Law is that there are no exams. So how you are assessed is goes as the follows. So with introduction to law, you will complete 16 multiple choice questions in a set amount of time. So that's within 90 minutes. And you'll be given 1 week to answer 13 short answer questions. Now, with the remaining core subjects, you'll have one essay to write, and it will be a written assessment for you to complete. And you'll have a question to answer, and it'll be like a scenarios-based template, as well as multiple choice questions for you to complete as well. So that's one good thing where there's no exams and it is all written based and multiple choice questions for you to answer. So how you will study the GDL. So essentially each module is broken down into workshop units, and you'll approach each of the units in the exact same way. So you'll view the introductory recorded presentation and you will complete the directed reading. And then once you've done that, you'll apply your knowledge from the reading to the case study scenario and identify key legal issues. You will submit and get individual feedback on your practice assessments, and you will attend the workshops with your fellow students, which is led by a subject matter expert. So with all of our courses, you're given a timetable to follow. And with the Graduate Diploma in Law, it is self-directed study. So for example, for the full-time course, how it would look like in practice would be regarding your contact hours, you'll have 8 hours in the first 2 weeks. and then it'd be 4 to 5 hours each week preceding. You will also have your own personal supervisor, and you will have 5 scheduled sessions across the course of the program. So one of those will be a group supervisor session, and the rest of the sessions will be one-to-one sessions for you to attend. You will also have workshops. So it tends to be around 4 in the first 2 weeks, and then you'll have 2 a week from there on. And then you'll also have course information sessions as well for you to attend, and they're sort of every 4 to 5 weeks. And those seminars, they're also live sessions. So you can attend them, and obviously they're led by the subject matter. So it is sort of important for students to attend them. And obviously you also have support throughout the programme by your own personal supervisor. So as we said, you have 5 scheduled sessions with them throughout the course of the programme.
Great. Thanks, Lara. So let's just give you a bit of a basis first of all then of exactly what the GDL is. I'm sure many of you will have looked into it a little bit already, if not a lot already, before joining this session. But what we definitely want to do now is hear from people who have actually have studied it or are studying the GDL. Lovely. So then, Chloe, can I come to you first? So you're obviously still currently studying the GDL at the moment.
Yeah.
So could you tell us a bit more then about your background? Because obviously it's mostly for people from a non-law background, but you actually have studied some law already.
Yeah, so prior to the GDL, I was actually a sociology and law graduate, but with the LLB, it needs to be of 75% or more weighting for your undergrad. So what the GDL is doing for me in studying this is giving me that extra percentage to technically be on par with people who've done an LLB.
Brilliant. And is that something that you just chose yourself, Chloe? I know you obviously you're already working sort of in a legal capacity and legal role.
Yeah, so I'm working
You just
in
prefer to, or
I'm working in defence litigation at the moment. I've been offered a solicitor apprenticeship training contract. Essentially, when I was a student, they didn't really know how the SQE was going to fit into training contracts and stuff. So I didn't know how the weighting would work, if it would affect me or anything like that. But the way the setup seems to be for most firms is you can do an SQE training contract, apprenticeship, whatever they want to call it, over 4 years if you're a non-law graduate. That seems to be quite common. If you're a law graduate, it's only 18 months to 2 years. So my motivation for doing the GDL was to get this done. This takes, I think, around 9 months compared to an extra 2 years on the training contract, and then go for the shorter one the way you would with an LLB.
brilliant. That makes sense. And then, so what kind of made you take our particular GDL?
Honestly, the cost and the feedback. So I looked at a few different higher education providers for this kind of thing. This one definitely come out on top for the cost, and the feedback was really good as well. I'm not going to name any other providers, but yeah, definitely have a look at your training provider when you're looking to undertake something like this, because the feedback is starkly different from different students.
Yeah, thanks for that. And so there's been lots of questions coming through from people that are registered for the event, and I know it's a common question that we get asked as well. Realistically, if you're working and you're studying at the same time, you know, how do you sort of make that work? Because you're on the part-time GDL, aren't you?
Yeah,
And then are you working full-time?
I'm working full time. Yeah.
So how are you doing it?
I'm doing fine. I think for a lot of students, obviously I can't speak for everybody, but I think if you're in university full time, if you're coming from that kind of background, most students do work part time and study full time. So for me, it's not that different. It's just a case of swapping it the other way around. So you still need the same amount of discipline. You still need the same amount of care for the topic. You need to really want to do it, I would say. But yeah, the discipline, the support from your workplace as well makes a big difference. My workplace have been particularly supportive because they know, obviously, in the end, it's only going to benefit them.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And are you managing to sort of attend any of the live workshop sessions?
Yeah, so I tend to make time for them. It can be a bit difficult, but the college has been really understanding with that. They're always recorded. The mentors are always there if you have any questions, if you were unable to attend, if you need anything explaining. They're really, really supportive. In the kind of job that I'm doing, sometimes something can just go on fire in the middle of the day. That'll need like immediate attention. So not all the time am I able to attend, but yeah, it's a very supportive environment if that is the case, if I do need to catch up on anything.
Yeah, that's good. And obviously the ideal is definitely to be able to attend these sessions
Mhm.
live. Can you still get quite a bit from the recording?
Definitely, yeah, because you what I tend to do is I prep as if I know I'm not going to be able to do it in advance or if I haven't been able to do it, I'll still complete the prep as if I'm going to attend it live, have all my own sort of answers, what I would have discussed,
Hmm.
and then sort of listen to what everyone else's answers, the questions are, and then kind of marry it up in that way. Then you still get a similar kind of experience, but obviously attending live is the best way forward.
Yeah. And in terms of like working then, I mean, obviously anyone who's going to be going onto the GDL is going to be looking to work in the legal profession. Some may be in a similar situation to yourself that may already be doing so. Others will be trying to get that sort of first foot in the door, I guess. Has it been quite beneficial for you to be in that sort of legal environment? And has that kind of helped you with the program?
Yeah, definitely. So the kind of work that I do, tort law, is like incredibly relevant. So I did notice after completing the module in tort law, in the set that's just gone, it made me it kind of refreshed my memory on all the principles, and I actually noticed a difference on my ability to research in my actual day job for my cases that I'm looking after. And then vice versa as well. It helped me with having the day job understand the topics in principle and in practice.
Yeah, brilliant. So, any advice that you would give to someone who's considering studying part-time whilst working and kind of a bit nervous about, how doable it really is?
I think whatever way you look at it, I think if you've got the motivation, then you'll be able to do it. There's enough time in the day. I don't know about like personal circumstances or anything, but if it's something that you really want with your long-term goals, if it's a topic that you're genuinely interested in, if you want the career in law, it's doable. The college is very supportive. Most employers are really supportive as well. So if you've got the drive and you've got the self-discipline, yeah, I would say absolutely go for it.
Yeah, great. And has there been any sort of particular modules that you've really enjoyed so far?
I think criminal law is always a crowd pleaser, isn't it? Like who doesn't love a true crime doc? But yeah, taught the same because they apply to sort of real life scenarios, so it's
Mhm.
easier for people maybe coming from a non-law background. It's easier to like think how that would work in the real world in real scenarios, looking at the case law and realizing that these actually happen to real people and it's not just like a piece of paper that says this is the case. It's something that actually happens. So yeah, tort and criminal, I would say, are my two favourites.
Yeah, brilliant. All right. Thanks so much, Chloe. I'll keep an eye on the chat. I just saw one question pop up then just about how long it is. We are going to just cover that in a slide a bit further along, but just to let you know, it's 40 weeks part-time or 20 weeks full-time. And Chloe, actually, we would say on the part-time, probably around 15 to 20 hours of study time per week. Now, I know your situation is quite unusual because
Yeah.
you say it's a law conversion course, you can come in completely no legal background, but you've obviously had studied some and working in it. But any idea how many hours a week do you think you're kind of putting in really?
If I'm being really realistic, it's probably 8.
Yeah,
Um, on average, some weeks, you've got a bit more spare time. Some weeks, I'm absolutely backlogged with my day job and I will do a little bit less. But I think as
yeah,
long as you balance the books, in the lead up to your exams, overall, throughout the life cycle of the course,
yeah.
you can work it out.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's handy sort of gauge there, Chloe. Thank you. Lovely. Right then, Bill, can we have a chat as well, please?
Sure.
Um, can you explain then a bit more about your sort of background and your sort of reason for coming into the GDL then?
Okay, my background is vastly different to law. I was running my own business in conservation of historic objects, and I specialized in metal objects in particular. But I was also a jeweler as well. That's how I got into conservation, was through the jewelry route. In essence, I was a really bad designer, so I became a conservator instead. Yes, it was vastly different. But running my own business, so there was still a lot of legal elements that in terms of business law, that you have to comply with, and a lot of law that applies to cultural heritage as well. So that was my background before I started the GDL.
And so what made you sort of decide to go for it now then?
In essence, Brexit. Um, when Brexit happened, Britain lost a lot of funding for cultural heritage, and it hit a lot of museums. It hit a lot of private collectors very hard. So they still have a lot of objects that need conservation, but they've got no money to pay for it. And as a business owner, I've got bills to pay.
Mhm.
So, in essence, it was a case of, right, okay, look, this isn't going to work long term. What do I do? And really, I was looking at options. And a long time ago, I had studied law, but for one reason or another, I had decided not to pursue that. So it was an option to take that up again and to run with that. So that was what was behind the decision.
And was you aiming for a particular direction, Bill? What was you kind of ultimately thinking you would like to go into?
So for me, the two key routes, I guess you could say, is one is to be a solicitor, the other one is to be a barrister. For me, because of a background in public speaking, I wanted to go to the bar. As far as what area of law is concerned, well, the GDL that left me in a bit of a quandary actually, because I enjoyed all of it. There was nothing that I sort of looked at and thought, don't want to do that. Um, so it left me with sort of looking at what did I do best at, what was I happiest with. So equity and trusts I really enjoyed, and public law I really enjoyed as well.
Mm,
So I think those two or something along those lines is likely to be my practice area.
yeah, brilliant. So, why did you enroll with us then? What encouraged you
Well,
to take that up?
much the same as Chloe, I looked at the reviews, I looked at the reputation, and the college has got a very good reputation. The reviews are universally positive, and of course, cost. When you've got places, and I'm not going to mention other providers, but other providers that are charging up to £14,000 for a GDL. Looking at your GDL, the college's GDL at 3950, that's a big difference. And that economic difference does make a big difference.
Yeah, brilliant. Thanks. Anything that surprised you, Bill, about studying on the GDL?
To some extent, and actually in a way this probably shouldn't have surprised me, but to some extent it was the wide variety of people who studied on the GDL. There were people in our cohort who were from all over the world, all sorts of backgrounds, all sorts of experiences, all sorts of histories. It was so diverse, and actually, that was something that, although it surprised me, actually, I think it was very positive because it added a lot of interest to the the course itself, in insofar as the cohort was concerned.
That's interesting to hear as well, actually, because obviously being an online program, sometimes that is people's concerns of sort of being a bit isolated and just left to your own devices for studying. But did you feel that you had classmates, or you integrated and mixed much with other students that way then?
Well, we ended up with a quite a well, we ended up with a WhatsApp group that was quite active the vast majority of days. Obviously, from the point of view of the time around assessments, it became more active, and then at times it would die off. But we ended up with a WhatsApp group, and I've ended up with some very good friends from the course. So even though it was online, that isn't necessarily a barrier to being inclusive and to being
Mm.
a really enjoyable experience from the people point of view.
That's really nice to hear because obviously, as we've sort of touched on already, everyone's coming from a different background and sort of different um different place in their in whether they're working at the same time, whether they've got caring responsibilities, and
Mm.
they're trying to fit in the studies in the different pockets of time that they have individually, don't they? So,
Mm. Mm.
so that's interesting to hear. Um, so what would you say to someone who's kind of thinking, "Oh, do I go through a career change? Is it possible?" Um, is it something that they should be cautious of, or what's your thoughts on that?
Well, I think people should be more cautious of staying exactly as they are. Because really, when you're looking at career change, you've got an option. You can either stay as you are and not do anything, or you can change. And if you change, you've then got the opportunity to do something different, to make a difference in your own life and to improve your situation. If you don't change, well, you know what the answer is going to be. So
Mm.
I think in that respect, it's really a case of taking the bull by the horns. Yes, to some extent, change is frightening, but actually it can be a really good thing. It can be a really useful thing. So I would say take the bull by the horns and do it.
Brilliant. Um, Lovely. We'll move on to Joe. I know there's been some further questions come through, but I'll make sure I read through all of them and then come back and we'll chat further in a little while, Bill, as well, I'm sure. Um, Joe, then, can you explain a bit about your own background as well, then, Joe? Because again, not from legal background at all.
Yeah, so I, after university, went into education and I stayed there for 25 years, and 10 of those years were as a head teacher. And I like a lot of change, I do, and things have to be very varied. And I was in a situation where I was going into schools in a bit of a pickle, should we say, and I was troubleshooting. I'd put them back on their feet and then I'd move on to the next challenge, and I love that. But it just became, after 10 years, same old, same old. And I just felt I can't do this for the next 15 to 20 years. And I really need something different. And it came down to two choices for me after a lot of thought about, okay, what shall I do then? Because I knew I didn't want to stay, because you spend more hours in a week at work than you do with your friends and family. So it's imperative to me that you're doing something you're enthused by and
Mm.
inspired by and motivated to do. And it came down to law and accountancy for me. Law or accountancy, two
Yeah.
things, yeah.
What tipped the scales for you towards law?
Really, it's the job satisfaction it could potentially give. So, you think about, like Chloe mentioned about criminal, and can you imagine working with someone that's been the victim of a crime, or even somebody that's been accused of something that they didn't do, and working to get justice? That giving me enormous job satisfaction. And I can't imagine, delivering a well balanced Excel spreadsheet of would give me the same job satisfaction. So the whole thought of working in a court as well as other places and helping vulnerable people, and that's what swung it for me.
Brilliant. And then, so did you decide then that the first starting point was going to have to be a conversion course?
Well, no, actually, I did my homework, and that's obviously what people are doing tonight by joining this webinar. And I think it's
Mm.
really important that you do your research. And I realised that people could actually go straight to the SQE one if
Mm.
they wanted to do the solicitor route. And I thought, well, I haven't really got time to spare, and I want to do this as cost effectively as possible. So I did think, well, do I just do the SQE, because you don't have to do the GDL now, I believe I'm right in saying.
Mhm.
But I'm so glad I did, because I've got no background in law at all. I did an engineering degree, and so I hadn't got any training or knowledge or experience of law, and it was such a good foundation. And now I am on the SQE. I can't imagine I could do this full time if I hadn't got that background of the GDL. So I'm so glad I did it.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Joe. Yeah, you're exactly right. So there actually isn't a requirement to have a law degree to go down the SQE route and to
Yeah.
become a solicitor. There is, however, for the barrister route. So if anyone's on the session tonight and wanting to go down that route, then a law conversion course is needed if you haven't got an LLB already. But I think not requiring the SRA saying they don't actually require that law degree, it's a bit misleading then, isn't it? Because actually in reality, how difficult it is to go straight onto SQE studies and be able to, successfully attempt such a strenuous set of exams.
And you'll know that the pass rate for the SQE, and not with yourselves, just
Yeah.
but around the country, is not particularly high. I think it's about 50%, isn't it? And I do think that's perhaps one of the contributors, that people think they can do it without a firm foundation in law. Yeah, and
Yeah,
it's a stretch.
yeah, exactly that. Um, Brilliant. So, has studying on the GDL then kind of given you a bit of an insight into the different areas of law that you might then want to go into?
Oh, definitely. So when I started, I thought I'd probably want to go into family law, because having worked with families and children for most of my career, I thought, well, I can bring some of that experience, and it will be different, but using some. But when we studied criminal law, I was just really intrigued by it, and excited by it, and it just really took my fancy. So I can see that as a potential area that I will go down. But you just don't know. I still feel even now it's too early to say, but it's definitely one of the ones that I was really drawn to.
And you mentioned obviously you've gone on to the SQE studies. How's that transition been then? We chatted a bit beforehand. You said, gosh, SQE is really intense then going on to it.
Yeah, so I did the GDL full time, and I was lucky enough not to have to work. Um, but honestly, doing the SQE1 full time is not the same as doing the GDL full time. I think I probably could have worked 1 or 2 days a week if I'd felt the need to during the GDL, and
Mhm.
still given the same to my studies. But no way with the SQE. It's you've got to do two little topics a day. Well, you don't have to, but that's what I'm following, the prescribed timetable. And I'm so glad a lot of the topics are the same that I did on the GDL, contract law, well, everything really, apart from introduction to law, which still helps. And so that's already knowledge, and it's just a little reminder to me, but it's not new knowledge. It's intense doing it full time. Like I definitely wouldn't work while doing the SQE1 full time.
Yeah. So, and then obviously you mentioned kind of it's the same sort of topics, but taught in a different way, and the outcome, what the way you're looking at it is different.
Well, there are new topics as well that we haven't studied in the GDL, like property and wills, and criminal practice rather than liability. But to be honest, the ones that we have studied, to me, they're very similar. There might be a little bit that's different, because I was expecting it to be markedly different, but no, the ones that we've already studied are more or less, and I've learned it all in the GDL, so that's a great help. If you think I just so wouldn't recommend anyone go into the SQE if they're in my position. Maybe if they've got a law background, but it's so worth the money. And I just want to say as well what Chloe and Bill said. The local providers by me to do, I think they call it PDGL now instead of GDL, but it's like 8 or 9 months instead of 5 months full time, and you're talking £14,000, no, £12,000 plus. So and please don't think that just because the college is a lot cheaper, it's less quality, because I love the fact it was all online, because it saves you the wasted journeys travelling to college and back. And it's so supportive. And Catherine, who leads the course, is brilliant. And I don't think I missed out at all by doing it with the college. Hence why I've done another course with you.
That's lovely to hear. Thank you. Um, what else I was just going to touch on there? Oh yeah. So yeah, you mentioned obviously PGDL, which again is a very common question that we get asked about the difference of it, and should someone take a GDL or a PGDL. Now, our law conversion course is just the GDL. We don't offer sort of different levels of it. But just to sort of explain to people who might be considering that as an option and wondering why we offer that. The GDL covers all the foundation areas of law, as we mentioned earlier, as set out by the SRA and by the Bar Standards Board as well. Sorry, the SRA, Solicitors Regulatory Authority, if you're not sure. And those sit at our GDL is 90 credits at level 6, and that's covering all those foundation areas. Now, the PGDL is going on at a higher level, but we've decided to keep offering a GDL just because most people, as we've got on the session talking tonight, are taking the GDL as kind of a stepping stone to then going on to other things. So, depending on your own circumstances, you might feel that actually you'd rather have a higher level conversion course, but for many it's sort of swifter and more cost effective to do the GDL and then potentially go on to the things after that.
I'd just say, through my research before I joined the college as well, I realised that many employers were still requiring the GDL, even though it's not an actual requirement. They would still prefer people have the GDL or other. And I think employers are used to the GDL. The PDGL, or I hope I'm saying that right, is the one that's new that they won't be so familiar with.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. Lovely. So I know there's more questions, but what I'm just going to do is just move on and just run through the rest of kind of the basic slides that we have about the structure of the course and the offering, and then we'll go back through other questions that we've had and share them amongst our panel then, if that's okay. There we go. Right, Lara, am I okay to hand back over to you to run through some of these, please?
Yeah, of course. So the QR code on the screen, you can scan that and that will take you directly to the course demo page, which we have in the Graduate Diploma in Law. And this will give you a bit more information on the course, and sort of it's a video which you can watch. Like we said, we have fantastic reviews from a lot of our students who have studied with us. And there's just some facts and figures up on the screen from a recent survey. So 87% of students would recommend the Graduate Diploma in Law to others. 89% of our students were satisfied or very satisfied with the one-to-one personal supervisor meetings. And 86% of students were satisfied or very satisfied with the programme in which we offer. So that's just a small section of some of the facts and figures which we were able to retrieve from the survey, which was given to our students on the course. So the Graduate Diploma in Law, it can help to prepare you in many ways. So it's fully online guided learning, and it also supports in increasing the chances of passing the SQE first time. One of the good things about the college in which we offer, so if you do the Graduate Diploma in Law with us and then go on to the SQE prep courses, you'll be eligible for a 10% discount. And it also helps individuals to gain a knowledge of the foundation area of laws in England and Wales, along with helping you to prepare for your further study. So that could be the SQE, or if you're looking at going down the bar route as well. So like we said, you can do the Graduate Diploma in Law on a part-time or full-time basis. So for those individuals who are looking at doing the part-time option, then this would be 40 weeks. And on average, it's between 15 to 20 hours of study per week. And depending on whether you do the full-time or the part-time, the cost is the exact same. So it's £3,950. And the full fees of the course will be paid 20 weeks into the course. The part-time route is definitely recommended for those individuals who work full-time, or especially if you have a very busy personal life schedule as well. And it's also whether you have like family commitments, then the part-time route is definitely more suited to those type of individuals. For the full-time one, this is the 20-week course which we offer. And on average, it's 30 to 35 hours of study per week. And now regarding the fees for the course, the full fees will be paid 10 weeks into the programme. And usually the full-time route, it's more suited for those individuals who don't currently work or may not have any like caring type of responsibilities as well. So that's just the difference between the part-time and the full-time options which we have available. So we have various cohorts throughout the year. So for those individuals who are looking at going down a part-time route, the next available start date which we have is on the 31st of August. So the application deadline is on the 17th of August, and all applications are made directly through our website. It takes around 30 minutes or less to complete. And we also have a cohort starting on the 18th of January, and then the deadline for that is the 4th of Jan 2027. If you're looking at doing the full-time course, then the next start date available is the 28th of September or the 18th of January for that particular course as well. So now we're going to spend some time answering any questions which you have. So feel free to post any in the chat. I know we have some in there already. So if you do have any questions, then you can just post them in the chat and then we'll try to answer all of them that come through.
Brilliant. Thanks, Lara. I've just been going through, and thanks so much everyone for chipping in with helping answer some of the questions that have come through as well. I think there's a few things that have come through, probably particularly for sort of Bill and for Joe, about potentially looking at your career move, having done the GDL. I know, Joe, you've said you've kind of particularly focused on getting the studies out of the way first. Have you looked much further ahead?
No, I just want to get the qualifications, so that's all done. I don't know if that's the right or the wrong move. Some people might say, gosh, you're really silly. But I know I found out that I can use a lot of things that I've done in headship as my qualifying work experience, because once you've got your SQE1 and SQE2, you've got to do 2 years of work experience. And it used to be, I believe, as a trainee solicitor, and it was quite hard to get those roles. But they've opened it up now, so you could do 2 years as a paralegal or even 2 years in a firm, but in a legal section of that firm, and that could be your qualifying work experience.
And you
So
can start that now.
yeah. So I just wanted to get the studies out the way, focus completely on them, and then I've got them in the bag, and then I can focus on what on the actual hands-on work.
Yeah, exactly. So if you are going down the SQE route to becoming a solicitor, as Joe said, you would need 2 years of qualifying work experience. But that can be gained sort of before, during, or after gaining those exams. And it can be from things previously. So Joe, what's headship then? Is this from previous work?
Yeah, so things like contracts and dispute resolution and things like that. I probably, to be honest, won't get the full 2 years signed off, and I do have to have it signed off by a solicitor. But luckily, in one of the schools I worked in, I did work closely with an employment solicitor. So you can imagine all the sorts of HR issues and employment things that I covered as a head teacher. Yeah, because yeah, so I think that's good. I mean, can I just say as well, I initially, like Bill, wanted to be a barrister, but the bar training course is a year long and it's about £20,000. And again, I want to do things quite quickly because I'm a career changer, and I don't want to spend the next 5 years studying. So I'm doing the solicitor route because actually, when you qualify as a solicitor, you can do a conversion certificate to be able to have rights of audience in the higher courts as well. So there's more than one way to get where you want to in the legal profession.
Yeah, you can become a solicitor and then take the higher rights of audience course. Effectively, the higher rights of audience course allows you to have audience in the courts that are higher than the magistrates' courts, so the Crown Court, High Court, Court of Appeal, and the Supreme Court. So you can go down that route. Similarly, having done that, if you really wanted to, you can then transfer from the Law Society to the bar. But you have to bear in mind that you would still need to do a pupillage, so that year-long training contract, which is ridiculously competitive to get. So you can do it that way. It's another way to skin a cat.
Yeah, thank you both. I mean, we don't offer the bar route ourselves,
No.
but we just do have more and more people actually coming to us, looking at the GDL as a way through that pathway. But we can certainly assist with further information about the SQE route to becoming a solicitor as well. Just trying to pick up on a few of the other questions that have come through. I know someone had some quite specific questions about English requirements, so just to quickly cover that, IELTS is a standard requirement, but if you have studied a degree in the UK, then that can be considered as proof of English instead. But we can come back to you more specifically on that. And if you, in terms of visas, we don't offer any visa sponsorship because you can study with us from anywhere in the world. So if you have a visa, you might just need to double check in terms of the requirements, but it sounds like from what you've put there that might be okay. We don't offer scholarships, I'm afraid, for the GDL. The standard payment plan, as we mentioned, the cost is £3,950, and the standard plan for that would be to pay a deposit of £150 and then the rest of half of the fees 2 weeks before the course starts. But the rest isn't due till halfway through. So if you take, for example, the longer course, the 40-week one, then 20 weeks in would be when you would pay the balance of that then. So hopefully that helps to sort of spread those costs out more. The GDL isn't covered by student finance. If you progressed on after the GDL onto the LLM, if you're wanting to go down the SQE route, we offer the LLM in legal practice, which includes SQE 1 and 2 preparation. Then you could fund that with a student loan. Lara, I don't know if you've seen any others that you wanted to pick up as well, but I'm just going to scan see if there's anything else that's there.
One just come through regarding on like how to book in a meeting. So on the following slide, there is an option for you to book a one-to-one call with us, and we could talk about like the best route for you to do and discuss the different options in which we offer as well. So that's it up on the board. So you can send us an email, or you could give us a phone call as well, or you can schedule a one-to-one chat over Zoom or a telephone appointment call as well.
Yeah, thank you. And I will send through, my plan will be to send through an email tomorrow with a copy of the recording and slides. And then if you have any further questions as well, feel free to come back on that as well. Let's just see what else there was. So in terms of scholarship, as I mentioned, there isn't any scholarships available for the GDL. There is a scholarship program currently open for the SQE route. So if you need the law conversion course first of all, you could look at doing that first, and then it might be possible to gain a scholarship for onward studies. Yeah, so you'll find the scholarship information available on the website, and that's for SQE studies. So applications are open for that now. Anyone interested in applying for the GDL as well, you can apply for that through a link on the course page of the website, but again, I'll put that on the email tomorrow. It's basically a fairly short online application form. You can save it partway through as well if you need to do so. One thing I don't think we covered too much, we mentioned obviously sort of a bit about the flexibility of the online studies. How did you find the sort of the guided learning aspect to Chloe and Joe and Bill? How did you find that in terms of being able to kind of, did you stick to the program? Was it as you expected?
I think it was actually really well structured. All of the reading and preparatory material for any given workshop you get well in advance. So as long as you've done the reading and you have taken the notes that are relevant, you can go into the workshop and it's no hassle at all. I think it's really just about being disciplined to do that work on your own. And I think that's something that anybody that's considering an online course at all has to be honest about, is take a long, hard look at yourself and be honest. Are you disciplined enough to do an online guided course? If you are, great. And I think definitely the course is the right way to go. But it's down to being honest with yourself.
I think it's good if you are paying for it. There are no scholarships really, so
Mm.
I think that's a great motivator because you really want to waste £4,000 and then not do the work. One thing that I would say is that I think we were in a cohort of around 55.
Yeah.
And for the live sessions, there'd probably be 6 or 7 that would actually contribute. And some people never showed their face. I mean, I don't want to judge, never contributed. And I didn't understand that because I felt you're not going to get the most out of it. And I don't know if it's a fear of getting something wrong in public, but you kind of got to let that go. And there were loads of times I got it wrong, but I've really learned from that. And if you don't ask, well, nobody's going to explain. And I can almost guarantee a question I would ask, I bet at least 10 other people on the video were probably wondering the same thing and might have thought, I'm not going to ask that because I sound silly. But I just don't care if I sound silly because it's about my learning really and my ultimate goal and what I want to do.
Yeah, I think with regard to participation in the workshops, you really have to take the attitude that no one ever learnt anything by being perfect. So if you're going to get something wrong, you're going to get something wrong. Who cares?
Yeah.
In the workshops, that's where you're allowed to get things wrong. So just do it. Just ask the questions.
And it can start a good debate then, actually, through a
Very
common
much so.
misconception that maybe the teacher doesn't re I feel sorry for the teachers because if they're getting nothing from the students, it must be very hard for them to be delivering. And yeah,
Yeah, I agree with that, definitely. I think where there's a completely dead cohort, it must be extremely difficult for the lecturers. Extremely difficult. So in a way, if by contributing, then you're helping the lecturers as
Mm.
well.
Yeah, that's great points. I mean, I think for some people it's a balance of being able to attend live sessions or not. And it's great that the way we always put it across is that we would strongly encourage people to try and attend and then obviously be able to actually actively engage in those workshop sessions whilst they're delivered live. But worst case scenario, they are recorded so you can watch them back afterwards if necessary. But it's just obviously that little bit different without being able to sort of interact that way.
But
Um, yeah.
it is worth bearing in mind that those recordings are a study resource in themselves.
Yeah.
Mm.
So even if you did go to the lecture, if you want clarity on a particular point later on, go back to the recording. It's there for you. That's at least partly what it's there for. It's a really good resource.
Yeah.
No, that's a good point. I was going to ask as well about how sort of supported you felt during the programs. Obviously you have the sort of personal supervision sessions. Chloe, can I come to you? How have you felt the sort of the supervision sessions? Have they been useful? And the sessions that you've obviously had where you've heard from the subject matter experts as well?
Yeah, they're absolutely useful. Catherine, who sort of runs the course, she's like an absolute legend, to be honest with you. There is nothing that you can go to her with that she doesn't have an answer for. I find all the tutors equally as supportive, prepared for any question, prepared for any situation as well, because it's not a short course, whether you're on the part-time one or the long one. It's shorter than most, but life is going to crop up every so often as it would in everyday life. So there will be times when you'll really need to lean on that support. And I definitely would say that the college has absolutely got that nailed on. I actually went to university during the COVID-19 pandemic, so online learning wasn't new to me when I started this course. And yeah, the College of Legal Practice have just got it nailed on. It's absolutely fantastic. I didn't get a chance to chime in before about the guided learning, but it's great. It's easy to engage with. They really break it up well. It's not just, pages and pages upon reading. There's ways that you can do it where it sort of comes through as a transcript. So I used to listen to it, well, I still do, as a little bit of a podcast, make notes that way. There's videos, there's cases that you need to go and look at and interact with. That way, it's not just readings upon readings. So just wanted to emphasize that as well, because I know when it's broken up like that's a bit easier to engage with.
Yeah, and there's just been some questions coming through actually about in terms of the kind of learning materials as well. Did you feel all of you that you've had sort of everything provided that you need? Did you need to go out and access further resources anywhere?
No, me personally, no. I think the manual, and they said this at the start of my course, if you, because everyone asked that same question, do we need to buy anything supplementary, or is everything in the manual? And I can say my grades have been great so far. Absolutely everything you need is in that manual. You get a digital version, you get a physical version. It's yours as well. So if you want to annotate it, if you want to take pages out, you want to make notes, you want to add pages and notes in, you can do that. Yeah, you can do it digitally as well if you prefer to type and whatever. So yeah, absolutely everything is in there. There's stuff that you can look at online that can be supplementary, but I definitely don't think anyone needs to waste any time buying supplementary books or anything. Everything's in the manual, and it's a really well written one as well.
That's good to hear. Joe and Bill, do you sort of agree with that?
Yeah, coming from an education background, I felt the course was extremely well designed. I really rated it. And I do believe they encouraged us not to go and supplement it with other materials, because another course might be structured differently. We might end up studying things that we don't need on this GDL and wasting time. But yeah, you really do have everything you need. It's just a matter of willpower and hard work and getting down to it.
Absolutely. And in fact, I would encourage people not to go out and buy supplementary books because, to be honest with you, if you buy books in law, in a very short space of time, they're going to be out of date.
Yeah.
So you will end up throwing money away. So I would encourage people not to. Everything that you need, as Joe said, as Chloe said, everything that you need is there. It's in the manual and it's in the reading that is provided for the course session. So it's there for you to do it.
That's brilliant. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for joining. I hope we've managed to get through all of your sort of GDL questions. As I said, I will send a follow-up email tomorrow as well. So anything else that you want to know, please feel free to come back then. But thank you so much to Bill, to Joe, for Chloe for joining us. I think it's really helped for people to be able to hear your real experiences of the programs. And good luck with your onward journey for the rest of your studies and career, really.
Nicola, can I just say, a lot of people, I think, really thought I was, taking a big risk when I was doing a career change. I'm 49, you see. And when you do something, you actually hear about more people that have done the same thing as you. And I think it's actually far more common than people think to change career completely at this age. And I wouldn't let anyone be put off by that. And
Mm.
I was worried about, oh, can I learn again? It's been ages since I did my postgrad. But you can.
Absolutely back that up. I'm 51, so I do totally endorse that. I think it's absolutely true. If you are in any doubt about what you're doing at the moment, change.
Yeah.
Just go ahead, do it.
And even if
Have
you have to
fun.
get a loan out, you can pay it back. I
Hmm.
suppose people's circumstances are different, but I just don't think you should let money be a blocker.
Well, looking at it from the point of view of law, the mandatory retirement age for judges is
Yeah.
75.
Yeah.
For barristers and solicitors, there is no mandatory retirement age, so you can keep practicing.
No, it's been really useful to hear sort of Bill and Joe about sort of the career changer sort of angle of coming into the GDL. But I think Chloe as well for yourself, just because you obviously have learned some law already and
Mhm.
working in that environment, but just not that complete LLB. So it's still really useful to interesting to hear how useful the GDL has been from your point of view as well. Brilliant. So thank you so much. I'll draw the webinar to a close, but thank you so much for everyone, to our panelists and for those that have attended this evening for joining us. I hope everyone has a good evening.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank
Thanks
you. Bye
all.
bye.
Bye.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.